honestly, most people through most of my life would not look at me and think that I was going through any sort of abuse. Academically, I always did well, Socially, they always made sure that we had the best of everything and that our friends were allowed to come over. It's not like they would fight when our friends were there. So I think it was more when I was about 13 or 14 when I started to become more of the mediator, when I actually found out at that point that my father was deep into drugs. It had gotten to a point, right, where when things got really bad, he would do meth in front of me. And so that, I think, was when I realized, okay, this isn't normal. I graduated when I was freshly 17, moved out on my own, still very, very close with my family, but at least had that physical separation. And so when I continued in college, I moved away and I became a domestic violence, sexual assault advocate myself, volunteer while I was in school. But I came back and I felt like at the time, I need to be here for my family because maybe this will be the last time. Things ratcheted up very quickly. And so my mother and I actually went to Marjorie Mason Center and we used the restraining order kind of drop-in session to really understand, okay, how do we do this right? So Marjorie Mason really helped us with that. And then they were able to help us as well. At the time, the stalking was really, really heavy. So we had to move. So they helped us to get set up with the Crime Victim Assistance Fund and help us just do some of that paperwork because it's not easy. We were able to get relocation assistance to help us as we moved to a new place, and then also helped cover some of our therapy at the time as well. So very, very helpful. It was a huge relief for me to show up at the Marjorie Mason Center and be welcomed by people who were experts and knew what they were doing. And people will walk me through whatever areas that I need to be walked through, right? And they also will respect my boundaries on what I don't want to be walked through. And I think that's important to know as someone who's in the midst of trying to decide, am I going to take help or not? They are there to support you in whatever steps you're ready to take at this moment. I went to get my own criminal protective order when I was 29 and was having my own issues with my father again. He had made a very direct threat. And so I had recorded that and was gonna go to the police. I backed out of my garage and his car was sitting there waiting. Well, I lived in a gated community. To get out of the gate, you would have to sit there for about 10 seconds before it would open. So I went speeding around my neighborhood, calling literally out of the window, help me. And then I finally saw a neighbor and I just flew into their driveway and I said, please help me. And that was when I went to the courthouse by myself, and the Marjorie Mason advocate was there and sat with me and held my hand while I violently cried, just going through the anxiety and the re-traumatization of really feeling like I had to plead my case. So having that advocate, to sit there with you, to bring you a box of tissues when you do start breaking down, it made all the difference. I am our Chief Communications Officer here at Fresno Unified. And so when I got the opportunity to come here, it was really about an opportunity to make a significant impact on Fresno. And I said, I am going to share this story and share what's on my heart, and I'm going to ask people to donate to Marjorie Mason Center. One, because they helped me before, but two, because I know that in the darkest of times, including the pandemic, they are a resource for those families that my heart was breaking for.